Yes, this is not clickbait. I'm actually going to go on ahead and talk about real villains for Marvel's Spider-Man 2. As the hype and anticipation for Spider-Man 2 builds, obviously there's a lot of rumors and there's a lot of lists being made by everybody saying, hey, I really hope we get character X and character Y, and this character could leak and that character could leak and they could make this character appear. And obviously the list goes on and on. But one thing is for certain is that there's actually a lot of Marvel Spider-Man villains that exist in the Marvel Spider-Man Gamerverse, as it is called by Marvel themselves. And I just think that a lot of people are not even aware of some of the characters that exist. So let's start with some iconic ones. We're going to kick things off with Fishbowl Head himself.
This piece of Mysterio's helmet gave me ideas for my eye lenses. Go ahead, sue me, Fishbowl Head.
So obviously that line and that collection item available in the game indicates that Mysterio doesn't just exist, but it's someone that Spider-Man has battled before and defeated, causing his entire hologram helmet to go on ahead and break. The other reason why we know Mysterio exists is, of course, because of the Halloween party scene in the game where Spider-Man actually meets someone dressed up as Mysterio, looking very much like classic Mysterio, implying that even though we have never seen Mysterio or what he exactly looks like, he definitely looks very similar to his comic book interpretation, just based on the fact that this costume looked similar. So we move right along to the next one, which is going to be one Dr. Curt Connors.
With this vial of the lizard's blood, I was able to mix up a cure and turn him back into Dr. Connors. Too bad it didn't last.
Now, of course, this goes on ahead and confirms the existence of Lizard and a fight between Spider-Man and Lizard himself. I think that this is actually really cool, especially because, of course, Curt Connors appears in the post-credit scene for Marvel's Spider-Man Miles Morales. So it's cool to know that at some point in time, Spider-Man and Curt Connors have already rumbled, and that Curt Connors not only was the Lizard, he still is the Lizard, which means that there's definitely a chance that they've already hinted at the idea that in the sequel, in Marvel Spider-Man 2, at one point or another, we will get to battle the Lizard. And the next one up from the collections is probably the one I personally am most excited to see appear in the sequel, and that would be...
Still not sure if opening this would set the Sandman free, but I'm in no hurry to find out.
Yes, the Sandman. I just think Sandman always makes for a really fun boss fight. He's one of those characters that, for whatever reason, transitions really well into video games. It's just, maybe it's the aesthetic, maybe it's the idea of fighting something that is ginormous or can go on ahead and take different shapes in sand form. It makes for a really fun boss fight, and I am certain that if we see Sandman appear in the sequel, it'll be a fun boss fight. Now, I know at this point you're probably telling yourself, well, this is all wonderful and all, but yeah, this is all stuff that we knew from the previous games. But what else you got? Is that it? Well, here's the fun fact. There's actually a lot of really cool spin-off stories that have happened as a result of the success of Marvel's Spider-Man. So we've gotten technically, I guess 4 different comic book storylines. We got Spider-Geddon. Then we had the 3 comic book storylines that were City at War, which was, I believe, 6 issues. Then we had Spider-Man Velocity, and we had Spider-Man Black Cat Strikes. And over on the book side of things, we also got Marvel's Spider-Man Hostile Takeover and Marvel's Spider-Man Miles Morales Wings of Fury. And most of these projects actually introduced some really, really cool villains, some iconic, some not so much, but all of them I would love to see in the sequel, and I would love to battle. So let's begin with Spider-Geddon itself. It was in this comic book that we actually got to see Tarantula, and oddly enough, in the recent Marvel Spider-Man 2 comic book, we actually get to see the Tarantula is still existing in this world, and once again gets taken down by, this time, both Miles and Spider-Man. And I gotta say, I love this design. Tarantula is a really goofy looking character from back in the day, and I really love this redesign. He almost looks a little bit like Ant-Man to me, but I really, really love the aesthetic. I think they nailed it, and I would love to see this be as like a tertiary type villain, or maybe like a side quest type villain in the sequel. Next, let's jump over to Spider-Man Velocity, which actually introduces not one, but 2 characters. One that starts out as a villain known as Haley, who is a speedster character just like the Flash. And she literally runs so fast at one point in the comic that she goes on ahead and creates flames all around her. But this is a character that starts out as a villain at the start of the story, and then actually by the end of it ends up as a hero character, which once again, I wouldn't mind to see Haley and Spider-Man team up for a mission of some sort that maybe requires her specific set of skills where she's able to manipulate time and speed, and so because of that, she's able to either move incredibly fast or incredibly slow with her brand new costume that was gifted to her by one Peter Parker. But that's not all, because the Velocity storyline also gives us our first look at Swarm, which is a character that Spider-Man has battled inside the Gamerverse multiple times now, but I really love the aesthetic of this one. I just think that this character looks so freaking goofy, but also looks really cool at the same time. I mean, it's just the aesthetic of this big giant robot mech suit that looks like a bee, sort of, with the purple cape aesthetic. I think it looks goofy, but I also think it would make for a really fun boss fight character, just because, again, similar to Sandman, this is a character that is predominantly put together from a bunch of bees, and so I think that it could be a really fun boss fight to take down. Again, obviously not a main villain, but maybe like a tertiary character that you get to battle on a side quest. And then we jump over to the Wings of Redemption, where a really cool character makes her debut. For those that don't know, the Wings of Redemption is, of course, the Miles Morales prequel book, in which Genki gets to find out that Miles is actually Spider-Man. There's a bunch of other revelations that occurred. It's kind of the fallout of Miles's family and himself having to move from Brooklyn to Spanish Harlem, and kind of the readjustment there as far as what that's like. It's a really, really well told story, actually, but as part of that story, there's also a really cool character that makes her debut, and that would be Pigeon. Oh, sorry, that's what they nickname her. Starling, I meant to say. Now, of course, if you don't know who Starling is actually the granddaughter of Adrian Toomes. She is Tiana Toomes, and it's actually a really cool story where essentially what would happen if Adrian Toomes, with the help of his granddaughter Tiana Toomes, released a bunch of nanobots that convert humans within New York into big giant birds, zombie birds, really. Yes, it's that crazy. It's a ginormous story as far as the scale is concerned, but it also introduces not just the character of Tiana Toomes as the Starling moniker, but in addition to that, it also goes on ahead and introduces two henchman characters for her known as Shadow and Hollowclaw, which I think would be really cool villains to battle as well. I just think that this could make for such a cool spin-off set of missions where you go on ahead and have to battle the Vulture, Starling, Hollowclaw, and Shadow. I think that would be really cool as a spin-off idea. I think that the story itself is quite compelling, and I would love to see it in the video game in some way, shape, or form. And so Starling is probably one of the ones that I would love to see the most. So there you have it, guys. Those are some of the villains that are already existing in this world, but we have not seen them playable or got a chance to play against them, which I think opens up a lot of possibilities. We obviously know that Kraven, even though he's not officially confirmed, but he's basically officially confirmed, and Venom will be appearing in Marvel's Spider-Man 2, which is exciting enough. But the fact that we have another pool of characters here that already exist in this world, I think opens up a lot of exciting possibilities for whom else we might be able to battle in this sequel. Let me know down in the comment section below, which of these villains would you actually like to see in the game? Not just as an Easter egg, not just as a character that has appeared in print in terms of comics or books, but actually a villain that you would love to see battle out of the ones that I covered here today. And if you'd like to see a brand new update on the long-rumored Superman game from Warner Brothers themselves during their earnings call, click the video that you're seeing on your screen right now. And if you'd like to go on ahead and see the latest update on the Iron Man video game from EA Motive, click the other video you see on your screen as well. Thanks a lot for watching, and I'll hopefully catch you guys here on the next one. Bye, everybody.